say welcome back to the homestead.
Welcome back to the homestead.
Some more rabbit footage at the end of the video. All right, welcome back to the homestead. You know, on this mostly peaceful Sunday, I thought I'd come to you with a video and another warning. If you're in California, you've got to be a little bit alarmed as a divided nation and especially a divided state grapples with an issue. You have people turning to mostly peaceful protests. And we're back into silly season again. Pallets of bricks showing up and innocent people passing underneath underpasses only to have rocks thrown at them, police cars on fire, so on and so forth. And to me, it just underscores the times that we live in. You know, this is the first time since the civil rights era that the National Guard has been deployed and not by the governor. You know, and there's a lot of issues there. Like, I get it if people want to have a debate on state and federalism and all that stuff, fine, whatever. I actually don't care. My point is larger and I think more important. We cannot, you know, a quote that I really love is, we cannot legislate morality. You know, I believe in a document that is called the Proclamation to the World on the Family, where it warns and forewarns that the disintegration of the family is going to bring about the judgments of God. And I think that that is so true. As the family unit breaks down, I mean, we're not just talking about, you know, demographics. We're not just talking about lowering birth rates, though that's happening and extremely alarming. By the way, your Social Security doesn't work if your baby rates go down. No, we're talking about more than that. We're talking about the nuclear family, the way that God had intended it from the Bible. Not trying to be divisive, guys, but the Bible has the words of God to his prophets, and as we follow that, we do get blessed. That's where I'm at. I think that invitation for that blessing is to everybody. It's to all people. So as we go away from that, though, you can't legislate morality. So suddenly you have the complete, utter breakdown of states and the breakdown of the country. And you can't just be like, well, we're going to police force it into safety and into working again like it used to, you know, the good old days. You know, California used to be, I mean, the state of just prosperity, people at the beach and getting a tan and everyone was fit. And, you know, now it's just like, I mean, it's just in disarray. You know, if I lived there with the governor that's there, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I think I would sell out and I would come to a more logical state and be a greeter at Walmart rather than stay in a state like that. And I feel bad for those of you who are in those states, because it's a great state, but it's just run by chaos. So, oh, let's get mad at the orange man because he calls in the National Guard. Well, time out. Why are you governors in these different places where these hotbeds are, you know, these kind of explosions of violence and protests, why are you not getting your state in order? Like, that's insane. Okay, the point of this video is, what are you going to do about it? Just like you can't legislate morality, you also can't legislate peace necessarily. So if you were an unexpecting motorist and just trying to travel, maybe you were traveling to California for a vacation, or maybe you were a local, and you just happen to go down a normal road, a normal route, and your Siri navigation tool probably doesn't have the feature that says, oh, don't go here, there's a protest and you could get a rock through your window, or hey, don't go down this road or you might get stopped. And you might have to make the decision to plow over someone who is stopping you in the middle of a riot, or stay there and be a sitting duck. You know, I don't think that's on your Siri app. So and my son, who's here in Utah, he is actually headed to California, and I just called him. I'm like, where are you going? And he's just like, I'm like, are you going to be in LA? And he's all, no. Can you say hi?
Wait, who is this?
That's the homestead. My boy just made, look at this. He went and got a cactus, and then he made it actually, like, is almost like a homemade taser. I don't even know how he did it, but it hurt. No, get that away from me, darling. All right, time out from the doom and gloom because I've got Jelly and Bean, the original Homestead boys. So out of nowhere, they come home and Bryce has made a homemade taser. Like, how did you do that? How did you make it?
Cactus needles, a stick, and tinfoil.
No, you're not throwing it on me. So he threw it at my arm earlier and it absolutely killed. So what does the tinfoil do? Do you know the mechanism of how it works?
Tinfoil just
Makes it
adds
heavier.
heaviness or whatever.
Oh, so it's basically you're just hitting yourself with a cactus. So my son is headed off to California and I'm like, you're not going to be in LA. He's like, no, I'm going to be a half hour away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, of all the weeks for him to go there. And you know, it underscores why I don't live there. So what is the answer? If you can't legislate morality, if you can't depend on the government for peace, and you know, especially those states where they don't even control for safety, call out the National Guard on their own accord for political reasons, let things get really bad and we'll show everybody. I think that the only thing left is our own preparations. Seriously, guys, it boils down to like, if you are prepared, you're not going to fear. And that means some hard decisions. Like for me, I think one of the main preps that you can do is have places of security. You know, you need to strategically locate to places where there are like-minded people around you and that together you can actually be unified. You know, in my opinion, being a prepper is not going off and becoming a silo unto yourself. I don't believe that, because you're not going to be an expert in food and water and preservation and canning and safety, you know, unless you can stay up and do your night shift and your day shift and your night shift and your day shift for safety. I think that it works better when you're unified with other like-minded people. In other words, if you can, move to a community where those people are. There's a nucleus of people that you can trust. You know, going back to the Bible, you know, the words of Jesus, if you're not one, you're not mine. You know, that we're supposed to literally become of one heart and one mind. And that's how we build his kingdom here, so that there's something ready, an organization ready for when he comes to reign as King of Kings, that we have unified and survived, right? I want to be a survivor. And I think that we can and should be doing that with preparations. So I would say one of the most essential preps is to get into places of security. And yes, of course, food and water and growing stuff. You know, you've got my big famous greenhouse behind me. And I've said a million times that that's not the answer, that I'm saying everyone needs to build this or do what I'm doing. But you do probably want to have discussions. Am I in the right place? Because right now it's California, sure. But the thing that is crazy to me is that people are not watching what's happening in Iran. I mean, there's no cognition globally, like percentage-wise, of those who are following what's happening in Iran. Things with China keeps heating up. Things in our bond market keep heating up. People not buying our bonds, and so what does that mean? We go back to printing. Well, as we keep doing that, more and more we lose status. It is status and trust that keeps the world hooked to the dollar. And I know some people said, oh, it was so much worse in the 80s, and there's this thought that all is well in Zion, all is well in America, because it's been well for all these years. America is such a beautiful and strengthened, wonderful country that is being corrupted by apathy. As we have become immoral as a people, going back to the disintegration of the family, turning our backs from God, we have prospered to this point with God's help. So what happens when we turn away from him? Well, turn on the TV and look at what's happening in California. And I would say cut and paste that to more places and pockets in America. Because we have, as Washington said, you know, made the propitious smiles of heaven fall down upon us as we serve you. He basically made a covenant with God. And so we've been blessed as a country, and I would suggest that we've squandered that as we've turned our back from him. And so to just think that we're going to have the blessings of yesterday, the blessings of our currency being the reserve status, the blessings of security, the blessings of states not fighting against each other, not having state versus federalism conflicts, etc., etc. No, no. All things change when we turn from the man upstairs. And so again, what are you going to do about it? You can sit there in fear and, oh my word, what am I going to do? Well, we'll just do small and simple and consistent things. If you believe in scriptures, things are going to get worse. My favorite quote about prepping comes from President Ezra Taft Benson, who was a leader of a global church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he's basically talking about preparation. And he says that those who are not preparing, and then he says, paraphrasing, are either not acquainted with the revelations or they do not believe them. And I'm sorry, but it's that simple. Now, I know all of us are on different spectrums, different religions, whatever, but like we're all just trying to do what we can to provide and protect for our family, right? So I just want to underscore again, the most essential prep. One of those most essential, just like food and water, is security and community. I have a few videos back about that, the most essential prep. Look into it. So we'll see you back on the homestead. By the way, there are a lot of baby rabbits. I'll do a little video, an extra, and should we go show them the rabbits?
Sorry.
So Keisha was petting the rabbits today. We got baby meat rabbits all over. Our mini Jersey cow is going to give birth next week. The greenhouse is going crazy. We just bought more citrus, and the Manti Manor is now our second vacation rental that is up and running. So we have the Manti Manor and the Manti Homestead. So things have been extremely busy. It's going really well. Good luck out there. I pray for all of you in California. I pray for my boy going to California. This is not a good look for America. As we try to maintain the world's leading currency reserve status, if I'm the rest of the world, I'm looking at America and like, you guys are a crap show. Why? Why do we continue with the American agenda when America does not have its house in order, baby? It's what it is. All right, see you next video. Okay, we promised to show you videos of the rabbits. Now, just a reminder, this is the Manti Homestead unique insulated cooler design where our nest boxes are outside of the hutch and underground. And we have 3 of these with babies. And so I know that this little girl wanted to hold one. So oh, here, put it in your little armpit. Is that so cute? Okay, now in addition, I want to show you also that we have our mini Jersey just about ready to have her baby, as in next week. McKenna is ducking from the picture. The greenhouse goes well, but that'll be another video. Leave in the comments if you want to have an update on that. But look at this. So we have got babies all over of different sizes. So we have 3 of the outside insulated coolers that have babies in them. And we've also got some babies in these outdoor hutches. So the rabbit colony goes well. I promise you a rabbit update. So there you go.